Hello, my name is Dr. Pauline Stewart, and I'm the Executive Officer and Founder of Family Drug Support Aotearoa, New Zealand. There's an old adage that if you don't measure what you do, then it's difficult to justify the outcome to others. And for me, as founder of Family Drug Support in New Zealand 5 years ago, the selection of a culturally appropriate, evidence-based program was crucial to the development of the organisation. I'm just going to share my slides with you now. Given the geographical spread of the population of New Zealand of just over 5 million people, it was important to focus on a few key requirements of any program that we developed. Firstly, what we had to have was a culturally appropriate program, no matter what the ethnicity of the impacted family member was. New Zealand was formed on a bicultural covenant, and this was really important when it was developed in 1840, and it continues to be very important today. So cultural safety is considered paramount in New Zealand, where nearly 17% of the population are Māori, around 16% are Asian, and around 8% are from the Pacific Islands. There's a very high expectation that any support given addresses the cultural needs of all New Zealanders. Secondly, we had to have a program that was accessible no matter where a person lives in New Zealand. And for this reason, over the last 3 years, we've actually moved to telehealth delivery for most of our 5-step programs. The third point was that our program had to be evidence-based with evaluation throughout. It didn't matter whether somebody was coming on as an individual to our program or whether there was 2 siblings or a couple came on to do the telehealth program. Our program had to be evidence-based with evaluation throughout, and we had to hear the unique story of each impacted family member. The next point that was really important for us was that we collected data to see what the need was for impacted family members. The first piece of data that we collected was through an omnibus survey, which we had undertaken in February 2020. Over 1,000 respondents aged between 18 and 65. And what we found from that survey was that 41% of New Zealanders were impacted by the alcohol use of a family member or close friend, and over 29% were impacted by the other drug use of a family member or close friend. The other drugs that were mentioned in that survey were drugs such as cannabis, MDMA, prescription medication, and methamphetamine. The second piece of research that we conducted was university research through the 8 universities in New Zealand with nearly 1,000 respondents. What we found from this research was that 36% of university students of all ages said that they were impacted by the alcohol use of a family member or close friend, and 37% said they were impacted by the other drug use of a family member or close friend. So what we knew was there was a huge need in New Zealand, as there is around the world, for a program to help impacted family members. Again, the sorts of other drugs that were mentioned were cannabis, MDMA, prescription medication, and methamphetamine. Throughout the survey. So what can data tell us? How important is data? Data allows us to see what the success of the 5-step programs we provide are for impacted family members. Data also allows us to look at parts of the program to see what we need to do for additional professional development for our accredited practitioners. Data also allows us to see how well accredited practitioners are serving the impacted family members they work with. We are able to see from our data what the reduction is in family burden as people complete the 5-step program. And we can measure the retention of impacted family members over the 5 to 6 psychoeducational counselling sessions. These are all really important. This is really important information from the data that we collect. And there's many other aspects of our service delivery to impacted family members that we are able to collect data on. Our data collection starts with the 5-step program family member questionnaire in step 1. Secondly, we measure using the family member questionnaire in step 5 how the program has progressed for those who complete the program. We also collect demographic data on people who come on to do the 5-step program. For example, what is the age of the impact family member? How long has the focal person been using alcohol or other drugs? What's the gender of the focal person? This is really important information for us. We also do an online evaluation survey at the completion of the 5-step program. This is sent out by accredited practitioners and returned by the vast majority of impacted family members who complete the 5-step program. And we conclude with an online survey 3 months after the 5-step is completed. And we have a really high return rate. Over 70% of people return that evaluation 3 months after the completion of the program. What we can tell from our demographic data is that the average age of the impacted family member is 52 years, and the average age of the focal person is 32 years. And often it's 10 years before the impacted family member reaches out to seek help. We find that the gender of the impacted family member is female 79% of the time and male 21% of the time, whereas the gender of the focal person is male 66% of the time and female 34% of the time. We're also able to find out other information about the relationship of the impacted family member to the focal person. We've been able to find out what the primary substances are involved in each of our impacted, in each of our 5-step programs. Currently, around 2/3 of our impacted family members are impacted by alcohol, and around 1/3 are impacted by other drugs. So that changes from time to time, and that's important information as well. What we're also able to find out is that doing the 5-step, family members have shown that for 92%, the family burden is reduced, and it's actually reduced by 45%. So this is really important information for us when we are conducting the 5-step programs. We know that the stress is reduced by 75%, that strain is reduced by 81%, that coping responses, the coping responses where there's a lot of emotional interactions are reduced by 71%. We know that helpful support is increased by 78%, and we know that unhelpful support is decreased by 54%. So we're getting a lot of excellent information from our data. As well, we're able to show over the past year that 123 enrolments, and this is increasing substantially, are the number that of people that are self-referring to us. 91% of individuals starting the program complete the full 5 sessions. We know that 29% are completing the program as couples. We know that 70% are completing the program as individual impacted family members. And we know that just 8% of those starting the 5-step program did not complete the program. So this is really important information that we're able to get from our data. Another piece of data that we're able to collect is that currently we have 49 programs underway for the 5-step, at this time. One of the things we want to know are what the benefits as reported by impacted family members are post the 5-step method program. And so on a scale of 1 to 5, impacted family members are asked to agree or strongly disagree or disagree with a number of statements. And what we have found is that 100% of the people who are coming onto the program say that the resource pack, which we courier to impacted family members prior to the start of the program, is useful. We find that 5 sessions of the program meets their needs and that they understand the importance after the program of taking care of themselves. We've also been able to understand that the majority of people, 97%, understand better the ways to cope, and 84% are able or feel able to face the future as they finish the 5-step program. 90% have reported that they're able to access support now and are more likely to be able to find support, which is an important piece of data. And 100% say that they would recommend the program to friends and family. So these are all really important pieces of information that family members have told us in the online survey. We also collect qualitative data, and some of the qualitative data I've recorded here. This data is about the accredited practitioner. Amazing. If I could talk to her every day, I'd be such a happy woman. Love your work. I wish you'd been around 15 years ago when all this started to overwhelm me. Em was magnificent. She was empathetic, reassuring, and informative, and I feel better each time we talked. S was a perfect fit for us, relaxed, knowledgeable, and professional, giving us an opportunity to reflect on our own behaviour within an effective framework. So that's just some of the qualitative data that we have been able to get from our online surveys. 3 months after we finish the 5-step, we send out an online survey to see what the response is 3 months after somebody has finished the 5-step program. On a Likert scale of 1 very unhelpful to 5 very helpful, impacted family members respond, and we get a 71% response rate. How helpful was it to be able to tell someone else about your situation and concerns? The average score is 4.7 out of 5. How helpful do you consider the written and verbal information you received from FDS and from your accredited practitioner? 4.5 out of 5. How helpful do you consider the program was in helping you to understand how to cope with the journey of your loved one's alcohol or other drug use? 4.5 out of 5. And what we find is, how helpful do you find the session you completed on support for yourself? 4.6 out of 5. In the last session, how helpful was it to review the changes you made and think about your actions going forward? 4.4 out of 5. And how helpful did you find the 5-step program in stressing that you had to that the importance of looking after yourself as you continue your journey? 4.7 out of 5 said that was very important for them. So some things that we also find out from our 3-month post 5-step online survey are 85% say that they're more able or more able to cope 3 months after doing the 5-step program, and 72% say they're better or much better in relation to their well-being 3 months after the 5-step program. So our conclusions that we have drawn from the data that we collect is that data matters in the development of services for impacted family members. It's essential for the development of an evidence-based service. It allows improvements needed to be identified and addressed. It encourages funders to provide financial support because they have really good data in order to make decisions. and it gives confidence in the decisions about programs and interventions that we are putting into place. So for us at Family Drug Support Aotearoa New Zealand, collecting data is really crucial. If anyone wants to have a further discussion about data collection as we do it in New Zealand, please contact me at Family Drug Support Aotearoa New Zealand. Thank you.